Good afternoon, Internet. This video will be entitled, Why the FBI Will Never Arrest Me. And it's a response to a comment that Dave made in the comments about where I've been these last few months. To be honest with you, I've been distracted learning this new computer program language named Kotlin. Okay, because, that's what I do. Anyway, so the point is he was concerned that maybe the FBI had arrested me or that I was living in the woods. No, I'm in Wilmington. I've been excommunicated from Washington, and for some reason everybody wants me down here. So that's where I'm at. But anyway, so back to the subject of the video. Now, the reason why the FBI would never arrest me is because if they did arrest me, certain things would become public that they don't want to come public. Specifically, that corrupt politicians have the ability to alter people's criminal records to punish them if they've been naughty. Okay? So, they don't want that to become public knowledge. Because if it does, okay, then people lose confidence in these criminal records. Okay, if they lose confidence and they have proof that these records can and have been manipulated, then everybody and their brother will claim that their records were screwed with too, and it'll jam up the courts. Okay, and they'd rather not have that happen. Okay, now, obviously that implies that someone screwed with my records, and they did. And they did that because I was naughty, okay? And of course I didn't find out. They altered the records around 2003, 2004, but I didn't find out about it until 2015. Because they were pretty sneaky about it. But I found the problem. And I went to the FBI, okay? And the FBI ignored Billy, which was not a good thing for the FBI. So, no need to talk about the details. The bottom line is that Billy's records have been fixed. Okay, what was the problem? The problem was that whenever you asked, did a criminal background check on me, it came back that my real name was Lorenzo Evans, and I was a convicted cocaine dealer from Miami. Okay? Oh, and that I'm black. Okay? So there was no way they could claim that I really was Lorenzo Evans. It was so freaking obvious that something had happened to one of those records down in Miami that they had to make me happy. So they fixed the problem. Okay, well, actually, I had three demands. One, that they fix the problem. They did. And I wanted some, justice. Of course, they didn't want to admit any wrongdoing. But as it just so happens, the whole executive suite in the FBI has been wiped out because of something completely unrelated, because of this whole Trump thing. So that worked out. And the only other thing that's left is that they need to compensate me for my losses. Okay? And I'm asking for $25 million. Okay? Now, that sounds like a lot of money, but it's not really. Not when you consider the kind of money that was involved in all of this shenanigans. Okay? So, of course, they told me that I was crazy and they were never going to give me anything like that, okay? And I can't sue them because of something called sovereign immunity, which says you can't sue the government, okay, unless you can prove malice. Well, they've got all the evidence, and they're certainly going to hand it over to me, and I can't get any lawyer to do it pro bono. So, what can I say? So what I've been doing is I've been screwing with them other ways. Like what I'll do is whenever there's an incident where somebody's been in jail for 20, 30 years uh, um, that was innocent. And there's always this big outcry, okay? And then you'll see where they have to, like the legislature of the state or whatever will do a special bill to give them like $1 million or $2 million to pay them off. Well, that's because they can't sue the government for them ruining their lives. So what do? I research the parties that are involved, and I send them little emails, like the reporters covering the case and the family members involved or whatever, and I go, hey, you should advocate for the abolition of sovereign immunity so you can sue the courts and get justice, because these people are going to continue to screw you until they're held accountable. Right. That's what I do. Okay? I know it's a long shot, but it fills my day. Anyway, so now to fill you in on why I was considered naughty, why I was bad, why I needed to be paddled. Well, there's actually a couple of reasons why I haven't quite figured out who would have done it, but it might have something to do with my involvement in the H-1B situation back in 2003, 2004. Matter of fact, that's how I got in Time Magazine. Time Magazine interviewed me, and you can see a picture of me if you find the Time Magazine from outsourcing. It was like the spring of 2003 or 2004 it came out. I can't remember. Anyway, it was an election year, so it had to be 2004. Anyway, the point is that I was working with a guy named Mike Emmons down in Orlando, because I lived in Orlando at the time. And there was a lot of out-of-work programmers back then, and we had a lot of time on our hands. And what was going on is the H-1B visas were at 100. They were issuing 195,000 of those a year, and the law was getting ready to sunset and go down to 65,000. And these tech companies wanted to keep it at 195. So some individuals, we won't say who, hacked the law firm servers for the law firms that were handling all the visa applications for like Microsoft, Oracle, and all these big tech companies. Okay? And guess what they found? They found evidence that these law firms were not following the law. And that information was then leaked to people in the press and friendly politicians. This is what a scumbag I am. We even gave Bernie Sanders information. He was a congressman from Vermont at the time, but he was very useful. Him and this dude named Tom Tancredo from Colorado. And Lou Dobbs was like a big buddy. Okay, so anyway, so we forced them to drop it, okay, because the politicians ran for cover, right? So all of a sudden there's 130,000 visas a year less for these tech companies, okay? And these visas were anywhere for like 3 to 5 years. And they were saving $40,000 a year on each one of these visas. So a visa was worth anywhere between $120,000 and $200,000 to these tech companies. Well, let's just, to keep the numbers right, let's just say 100,000, okay? Now there's 130,000 less a year. To keep the numbers right, let's just say 100,000. 100,000 times 100,000. Okay, that's 10 zeros. That's $10 billion a year. Okay, so maybe that's a reason why they did it. Another reason is I was trying to organize a union for programmers, and I was able to get 150 shop stewards from the Communication Workers of America to raid an outsourcing convention at Disney World at some yacht club hotel, and there was violence, okay? And one of these executives got knocked out in the ruckus, and I might have done a little happy dance around his unconscious body. So they might have gotten the impression that maybe I was involved in him becoming unconscious, and maybe it was retaliation for that, or it might have something to do with the situation in WorldCom. Bottom line, if you want all the details of that, you're going to have to buy my book, The Patriotic Rogue explains all that stuff. But anyway, so the bottom line is I pissed somebody off. They screwed with my criminal records to punish me. I found out, and I'm causing problems for the FBI. They already have lots of problems. The last thing they're going to do is arrest me. Because the minute that happens, I get publicity, and they don't want anybody to know about my case. Anyway, I hope that clears up the stuff, and maybe I'll get back to making the videos. But man, I'm like really into this Kotlin, and you might not see many videos from me until I'm done or satisfied with that I know the language as much as I'd like to, because I'm gonna start writing apps for the phone. Yeah. All right, later, people.